Good morning. Finally, I hold my maiden collection of poems in my hand. Warm thanks to Professor Nandini Sahu who made it possible. I also need to thank Kathleen Hummel for writing a lovely foreword to this book. The poems in this book have been written over years and I had confidence to get them published only now. This book is actually divided into 7 sections. Uh, these are poems which have been written around my own experiences, around the idea of writing poems. What could a poem actually do? How do words, metaphors, similes, and other things work within poems? And more than that, how do they become a very concrete part of our own lives? So it's not just that, metaphors, similes, and other figures of speeches are part of language. They in fact become a part of our own lives. Coming up from a family which experienced partition of India and moved as a result of partition of India, the book also has a section on partition experiences of my grandparents and how we as children were brought up. Another bad experience of life has been violence around 84. So this book has a concentrated section on the violence poems written around the experience of 84. Being a woman, there have been different experiences. And when I say woman experience, I mean to locate myself in the socio-political realm, both of family and the world. So there's a section, the first section of the poem actually is about a girl, Sukanya, and the name itself, Sukanya, expectations from a woman to be a good woman, a woman with moral characters, and so on and so forth. And here we have Sukanya, who is much against this idea of being Sukanya, and how Sukanya is not at all a so-called beautiful woman in the terms of how beauty is defined as fair, thin features. She's somebody who's dark and who's got broader features, not much acceptable in this world. But then she has a world of her own. Sukanya is also the receiver of what her mother's experiences are, and there's something happening in Sukanya's mind which gets registered in these poems. How does Sukanya empathize with her mother? How does Sukanya relate to being a woman as she's growing up, and how does that amplify in her mind and heart both? And how Sukanya now takes a charge to break these norms and find and locate a world for her own self is what you find in these poems. Sukanya becomes a very, very dear character to me, and unlike a novel, this is poem. So even though Sukanya, appears to be like a character in the novel, Sukanya is a lived experience, being born within the poem herself. A city girl she was, living in a concrete, high-rise 2-bedroom flat on the 10th floor of an old society. The black and dirty walls with stains of red spit had begun to crack. Sukanya had never lived in a village. The dilapidated buildings needed repair. The cracks should be filled up, lest the earthquake may shake it down. 3 sisters and a brother, born after the 3rd. A successful chance her parents took to get a boy. Dark girl, thick features, nothing would get her a special notice. Lost in the crowd, she had no romanticism of a village-bred beautiful girl, forlorn, waiting for her lover to return and singing songs of love. But a city loner. She was not a worthy subject of any story. Plain, ordinary girl. Sukanya was born here and now in this poem. Had she found a life? And the words told her story. A story of an ordinary dark girl with thick features. Nothing would get her a special notice. And that is our Sukanya. And then The poems talk about her shared experience with her mother and others. The book is called Forbidden Button, and the poem Forbidden Button is dedicated to the breast cancer warriors. I'd like to read out this poem particularly because this poem became a very dear poem to me. Forbidden Button. Colors, schemes and patterns add to the aesthetic balance of the beautiful design I choose to be painted on my chest. Lactating when a mother, beautiful and voluptuous for the woman, I carried you proudly, making me a woman. The doctor says they need to be removed to save me. Choices I have none. But I shall paint the vacant space, adorn it with colors, schemes and patterns. Figures, grace and the aesthetic balance. Choice I have one of choosing a pattern to be painted on my chest. I choose a pattern of a mother feeding her child and decide to leave that forbidden button of my shirt open for all to see. Moving from here, I move on to a section of poems itself. What do the poems do? The section talking about poem, experience, moment and the word. A poem sings songs of heart, captures the truth of the nakedness under the lustrous clothes. A poem is the force that attracts and instills love, melts a stone with passionate words. A poem has the power to register exploitation and resistance, to start an activism of the ants against the elephant. A poem brings emancipation. Sounds break silences, the caged bird liberated that flies to eternity. That's what a poem actually does. Moving on to the essence of life, that is love. There's a section dedicated to love itself, and love which is eternal, which is experienced in the worldly love that we see, but a feeling that cannot be described, yet it is there. So the poem goes, the love not alive. The desire to meet is intense as the babiha yearns for the first drop of rain. I am nullified. Wonder what the moment be like when we will see each other eye to eye. A cow silently watching her calf. The first touch and the warmth of that hug, bosom to bosom. Like the monkey, a mother holding a dead child? Or is it a dream? And am I dreaming? Only love is real, yet implausible. Rest temporary, fleeting and transient. At the same time, the body becomes central in these poems, and a poem dedicated to the daughters of India, Gateway to Heaven number 27, talks about how the bodies of daughters are mutilated. A very sad thing, and how do our bodies make sense to us? This is a very long poem and I read a small stanza from here. You know, they are bodies. Names, these are pseudonyms given by the police to protect the honor of these girls. The honor, that makes no sense. These names make no sense, but these bodies make sense. The breast and the vagina make sense. The muted voices make sense. They are senseless today, but their battered bodies make sense. Numbers keep growing, letters keep adding. As children we mugged up. F for fish, F for fish, now I learn. F for falak, F for freedom, F for falak, F for freedom. So after the long poem, there's a very short poem on life. Life, a game of cross zero. It is either a cross or zero. Nothing. One poem that I share from the section called Turbans and Tires. Secrets of the past. Night brings with it secrets of the past. Candles and lamps mark the festival of lights. Its glare blinds me, reminds me of that dark night, the same 32 years back. The sounds of crackers replaced by the screams of mothers trying to protect their daughters. Turbans disrobed, beards trimmed, hair being cut, cigarettes forced into the mouth, with folded hands, helpless faces, tearful eyes seeking mercy. The harsh night brings with it the erased memories of thousands of bodies. The crackers remind the bursting gas cylinders of fuming houses and arson powder. The festival is not welcomed this year. No lamps and candles to be lighted. Nothing can light up the darkened faces and the broken hearts. Thank you. I am grateful to Signorina Publications for enabling me to share these voices with everybody. Hope you enjoy these poems. Thank you.